I never imagined it. I was only focused on just finishing the movie. I'm so happy to meet you all here in LA. So tragic comedy, it's basically comedy and tragedy, but that's not something that I planned during the script writing stage. I just wrote. So the marketing team always suffers. They always ask me, so what genre is this movie? To be honest, I don't know either. I think that human emotion is always a mixture of sadness and happiness and joy and suffering. So I just naturally mix all those emotions into my stories. But I suppose for the audience, it may feel a little strange. When I was in Cannes, some American reporter commented on how there's really no need to think about the genre of Bong Joon-ho's films. Bong Joon-ho is a genre unto himself. So to be honest, I don't create films to deliver a particularly political message or provide social commentary. I really pursue the excitement and entertainment that comes from genre itself, but I always have a lot of interest in characters and individuals. But the deeper I delve into these individuals, the more I come to, explore society and history. They're basically inseparable. And so unless I create a film about a man who lives on an isolated island, I think they will always go hand in hand. So Director Bong and I have been working together for the past 20 years, and I think Director Bong just said something really amazing. Parasite seems to be a small story about class struggle and conflict, but actually it conceals Director Bong's grand ambitions to tell these stories about the human condition. And during the past 20 years, he's always managed to melt those grand schemes into his stories. So every time I'm surprised, I have so much respect for Director Bong. So I was very surprised when I read that article as well, and I was able to see a photo of his face printed on the newspaper, and I felt very complicated. I remember 17 years ago when we were filming the film, Song and I, we wondered what he actually looks like. And I felt something similar. Now I understand what Jake Gyllenhaal was feeling in that scene. So for a film like Memories of Murder, I was really faithful to the spontaneous emotion that reached me on set. So there was a lot that we improvised. But Parasite had very meticulous lines and coordinating in terms of blocking. So it really depends on the project. What's really surprising about Song is that even when he improvises on set, it only strengthens the scene and the overall context of the film and never sticks out. And and so it feels like it's a line that he's been practicing the past year. And even with dialogue that was written a long time ago, he makes it feel raw and just alive and vital. So he always manages to blur the lines between improvisation and preparation, and that's something that I'm always amazed by. So it wasn't as if I had this petty scheme to make Parasite seem like a sequel to The Host. So Parasite does feel like a sci-fi title where, a body snatcher film where something just explodes out of your body at one point. But the starting point of this whole story is the sense of infiltration. And when I was in college, I worked as a tutor for a rich family, and I had this eerie sense that I was spying on the private lives of complete strangers, although that's not what I intended at the time. And so that strange feeling I had at that time and those memories, that was the beginning point of this film and the title Parasite. So the sequence you see in the rain where the Kim family descends down through the stairs and back to their neighborhood, those are the ones shot on actual location. And because only 10% of the film was shot on location, we were more persistent with finding the right ones. The DP and I are both love shooting on actual locations. And for the poorhouse, the set, we built it. It's a set, but we actually went to neighborhoods that were scheduled to be demolished and reconstructed to take the doors, the wallpaper, and all those actually aged and old materials to build the set with. So it felt very real, and we tried hard to make sure that the audience can, to make sure that the actors can actually feel like it's somewhere that they live in. It's a little off topic, but our production designer was very obsessed with making sure that everything is real. So he actually brought actual old food trash onto the set to have it smell. Thank you for that question. I wanted someone to ask that question. So are you referring to the stick on the poster, or when Song Kang-ho does this within the movie? This? So that's something that a father usually doesn't say to his son. It's something that's very dark from deep within his heart. It's like he's taking out a dark lump from within him. And so I thought of what this character is feeling and what kind of life Ki-taek led and what struggles he's had. So that was also included in the storyboard where he covers his eyes, and I asked Song how it felt for him, and he said it felt right. And you know, when he's saying something very deep from his heart, but you don't see his eyes, you basically only see his mouth moving. So I thought that in itself could deliver some like very deep, stirring emotion. And even before that scene, you see Ki-taek closing his eyes at certain moments. So even when in the climax, he somehow ends up stabbing Mr. Park, you see a shot of him shutting his eyes tight, but at that point it's already too late. And I think that really shows the complicated layers of sadness that Ki-taek has experienced, and also his desire to sort of avoid the world from what he's done. But that was only my suggestion. I think the actor who performed it would know a lot better. So I had two thoughts while I was acting that scene. First, I thought maybe it was to express this self-mocking sadness that he would feel as a father who has no choice but to tell this to his son. And secondly, perhaps, you know, when he was saying that he was talking about no plan to his son, maybe he didn't really mean it. But I don't think I don't think it's necessary to really give it some specific answer.